What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Saturday, May 25th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 14:08 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from North Korea. So apparently, Russia and North Korea may be planning a major military provocation ahead of the U.S. election. A U.S. intelligence official told NBC News that North Korea may resort to the largest military provocation in a decade. He said Pyongyang would likely do so at the behest of Russian President Vladimir Putin. We do not doubt that North Korea will behave provocatively this year. The only question is how much the situation will escalate, the U.S. intelligence official said. So, this is huge news, guys. Emergency alert. Russia and North Korea may be planning a major military provocation ahead of the U.S. election this November, according to a senior U.S. intelligence official. And NBC News, also citing the same senior U.S. intelligence official, reported that Putin is providing North Korea with nuclear, submarine, and ballistic missile technology in exchange for Pyongyang's sending Russia large amounts of munitions for its war in Ukraine. So, very serious news, guys, okay? Russia is now providing North Korea with nuclear submarine technology and ballistic missile technology. And also, China is supposed to be providing Russia with ammunition and weapons for its war against Ukraine. And we have unconfirmed reports coming in today that Vladimir Putin is going to visit North Korea soon for an emergency meeting with Kim Jong-un. Putin has made his rounds the last week or so. First, he went to China and met with Xi Jinping. And after his meeting with Xi Jinping, the Russian Foreign Ministry put out a statement saying that the meeting was going to change the world. And then the last 2 or 3 days, we saw Putin visit Belarus. He met with the leader of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, and now it looks like he's going to be visiting North Korea. So something big is about to go down if Putin is making all these high-profile visits. And what you're looking at here is the flight path of a U.S. nuclear war command and control plane flying over the eastern U.S. And right now it is flying over the Chesapeake Bay. Other than this one Boeing E-6 Mercury, we don't have a lot of indications that U.S. nuclear forces are very active today, but I will continue to monitor the situation and update you accordingly. And the Chinese military drills around Taiwan have ended and were a success, according to Chinese state media. And Putin left Belarus yesterday along with his press guy, Dmitry Peskov. And we have some video footage coming out of Taiwan showing a Taiwan F-16 locking onto a Chinese fighter jet. This was yesterday. So tensions are extremely high around the Taiwan Strait. And we also had this video come out showing all of the underground bunkers in Taiwan, where Taiwan has their F-16s and missiles, okay? So here's some F-16s being loaded up with AMRAAMs and Harpoon missiles, okay? So Taiwan has an extensive bunker system and tunnel system underground, and it looks like Ukraine is going to be building something similar to this before they receive their F-16s. So Taiwan is definitely prepared. They've been preparing for decades for this showdown against China. They have thousands of Patriot missiles. They have thousands of anti-ship missiles. They have these underground bunkers with their F-16s. So Taiwan is, And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a discount on their 1 month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnyprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. This is a 1 month freeze-dried food supply. It has a 25-year shelf life. Normal price is $237. They've dropped it down to $177. So that's a savings of $60. And it's all packed within 2 rugged, water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. $177 for 1 month of food. Where are you going to find a deal like that? They also have a general store, and they're always running discounts in their general store on various prepping and survival items. They have everything from MREs, potassium iodide, to survival seeds. And to get to their general store, you got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com. And you'll see when you get there, they have everything you can imagine. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $60 off the My Patriot Supply 1 month emergency food supply. That's $180 for 1 month of food, free shipping included. The link is in the description below this video. And also check out their general store. They have everything you can imagine prepping and survival related, and they're always running various discounts there. No joke. And yesterday we had major news that China put their long-range missiles on combat alert, and they pointed them towards the capital of Taiwan. So I don't know if these missiles are still pointed towards Taiwan. I wouldn't be surprised if they were. Remember how these countries operate, guys, okay? Drills for them are forward deployments and basically readying everything for an assault, okay? And we also had unconfirmed reports come out 2 days ago saying that China was going to attack Taiwan in June. Okay, so we could have multiple war fronts pop off at the same time. China attacks Taiwan at the same time as North Korea does something to South Korea, at the same time as Belarus and Russia attack Estonia and the Baltics and possibly Poland. And then at the same time, Russia launches a huge offensive to capture the city of Kharkiv in Ukraine. All these things could happen simultaneously. We know that NATO has been on high alert in the Baltics the last few months, especially the last few weeks. I've been showing you guys all the reconnaissance flights over the Baltics every single night, especially over Lithuania and Latvia. And just 2 days ago, Russia removed their border markings in the Narva River, which is a river that separates Estonia from Russia. They have these buoys in the middle of the river to mark the border between Russia and Estonia. Well, the Russians removed those markings, so that could be a sign that they're getting ready to invade Estonia. But Putin really wants to have a land connection to Kaliningrad. Kaliningrad is a Russian province that is geographically isolated from the rest of Russia, similar to how Crimea was before he ordered the invasion of Ukraine. And he wants that land connection through the Suwalki Gap to Kaliningrad, okay? Because Kaliningrad is an economic powerhouse, and he wants it physically connected to Russia. And I want to just play this audio clip for you of Jens Stoltenberg during his interview with The Economist. And he talks about how NATO allies need to allow Ukraine to strike inside of Russian territory with NATO weapons, especially because of the situation in Kharkiv, where Russia has artillery systems parked just inside of their border, and they're able to shell the crap out of Kharkiv, and Ukraine literally can't do anything with the weapons they've been given because of the restrictions. So let me just play this for you.
I think the time has come for allies to consider whether they should lift some of the restrictions they have put on the use of weapons they have donated to Ukraine, because especially now when a lot of the fighting is going on in Kharkiv, close to the border, to deny Ukraine the possibility of using these weapons against legitimate military targets on Russian territory makes it very hard for them to defend themselves.
So to be clear, you're asking the US to lift the restrictions on the use of American weapons over Russian territory?
I believe the time has come for allies to consider whether they should lift some of the restrictions they have imposed on weapons donated to Ukraine. Because we need to remember what this is. This is a war of aggression by Russia against Ukraine. Ukraine has the right to defend themselves, and that includes also striking targets on Russian territory. Some allies have already lifted those restrictions, allowing to use their weapons against military targets in Ukraine, and I believe the time has come for all the allies to consider this.
The UK has effectively lifted the restrictions, and it is the US that's really the single most important one.
I think what we see now demonstrates the need to reconsider those restrictions, not least because we have fighting going on along the border between Russia and Ukraine, especially in the Kharkiv region, where the front line and the borderline is more or less the same. And then, of course, if you deny Ukraine the right to hit military targets on Russian territory, then you make it very hard for them to uphold the right for self-defense. This is self-defense. Self-defense is enshrined in the UN Charter. It's legal, it's legitimate, and we are helping Ukraine with upholding that right, and that should include the ability to also strike targets on Russian territory when there are military legitimate targets we're talking about.
So we have more and more countries and leaders talking about allowing Ukraine to use Western weapons to strike inside of Russian territory. Just a few days ago, we had Michael McCaul, the Republican congressman from Texas, grill Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, on why the Biden administration is not allowing NATO weapons or American weapons to be used inside of Russian territory, especially in self-defense situations where, let's say, Russia's launching artillery strikes at Ukraine from inside of Russian soil. Why can't Ukrainians use American weapons to destroy those artillery pieces? And so now the Secretary of State is trying to put pressure on the Biden administration to change that thinking, because the thinking is that it would cause an escalation. And now we have the leader of NATO calling on allies to end these restrictions. Okay, so I think we're going to see it. I think we're going to see the NATO alliance drop their restrictions on using their weapons inside of Russian territory. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, but I'm sure Russia's not going to be happy about this, because this is going to change the battlefield significantly, because so far Russia has been able to shell the crap out of Ukraine from inside of their territory with impunity, because NATO put restrictions on Ukraine using missiles and different types of technology to destroy Russian assets inside of Russia. Now they're going to be allowed to do that. So that's going to change the battlefield, and it's not going to be changed in a way that's positive for Russia. So Russia could lash out and escalate somehow. And apparently Putin left Belarus yesterday. We have his presidential plane on flight tracker. I'm going to show it to you guys in a second here. And the Lithuanian foreign minister confirmed that the Lithuanian military will be sent to Ukraine. Okay, so Lithuania sending their forces into Ukraine. The Polish foreign minister said that America told Russia that if Russia used nuclear weapons in Ukraine, that America would hit all Russian targets and positions in Ukraine with conventional weapons and destroy them all. Wow, that is huge news, guys. And Zelensky said Russia launched another brutal attack on Kharkiv today, targeting a construction materials hypermarket on Saturday, right in the middle of the day. As of now, we know that more than 200 people could have been inside the hypermarket. Hypermarket is just like a European term for a supermarket or a large shopping facility. All services are already working at the scene to rescue people and extinguish the fire that has completely consumed the 10,000 square meter building. There are reports of deaths and injuries. Okay, so Russia striking a building materials market on a Saturday afternoon, which is usually the day that people go to buy building materials and work on their homes. So this is just absolutely brutal. And Russian forces also launched more missile attacks against Kharkiv overnight last night, damaging an educational institution, regional authorities reported. And also, a Russian missile strike completely destroyed a Ukrainian hangar loaded with Western supplied equipment in the Kharkiv region. And there were massive kabooms reported in Crimea's Saki Air Base and Novo Fedorivka early this morning. No word yet on damage, but we do have this video that shows this massive amount of smoke coming from the horizon. This is near one of Russia's major air bases in Crimea. Look at that, guys. Wow. And there were multiple kabooms heard in Russia's Belgorod region. This is the part of Russia right next to Kharkiv. There were pillars of smoke seen rising above the village of Dubrovoye. About 10 kabooms were reported. So we actually have some video footage of that. Apparently, this was some kind of market or building that was hit, presumably by Ukrainian missiles or UAVs in the Belgorod region. Check that out. Look at the damage there. Okay, so this is in Belgorod. So it looks like Ukraine is striking back against Russia, against these strikes in Kharkiv by Russia. So things are really escalating, guys. We have Ukraine and Russia shelling each other now, actually civilian areas. Okay, Russia's shelling Kharkiv in civilian areas, and now Ukraine is shelling Russian civilian areas. So this is not going to end well. And NATO could invoke Article 5 of collective defense in the case of a serious cyber attack on one of the alliance countries. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg stated in his interview with The Economist. He said, "We can invoke Article 5 and respond in cyberspace and in other areas to protect NATO allies." And Russia terminated a nuclear deal with Japan. Russia has officially ended a disarmament cooperation agreement with Japan. The process of scrapping the treaty was initiated 6 months ago due to what Russia called Japan's unfriendly policies. Under the agreement signed in October of 1993, Japan was to help Russia dismantle a large portion of the Soviet atomic arsenal and help address resulting environmental problems. And Poland supports Ukraine's strikes on military targets in Russia, according to the Polish foreign minister. And the Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, said NATO is preparing for war with Russia and that he is reconsidering Hungary's membership to NATO because it does not want to be involved in a war against Moscow. Viktor Orban said last week at a political rally that this year was the year that Western civilization ends. Wow. And the Washington Post is reporting that Ukraine has stopped using certain types of precision Western munitions due to Russian jamming, which has decreased their effectiveness tremendously. And we have major breaking news coming out of Poland. Polish security services have discovered incendiary devices that were placed around Warsaw over the last few days with the intention to start large-scale fires across Warsaw, similar to the shopping mall that caught on fire a few weeks ago. And Romania has declared a Russian diplomat in the country as persona non grata. So Romania kicking out a Russian diplomat. And the U.S. State Department has confirmed that NATO will not invite Ukraine to join NATO at the NATO summit in July. And 2 Tajik citizens were suspected of preparing terror attacks inside of Belarus, according to the Belarusian Ministry of Internal Affairs. And I want to remind you guys that Ukraine destroyed this long-range radar complex in Russia, and this is part of Russia's nuclear war early warning radar system. And according to Russia's nuclear war doctrine, an attack on their radar system would be the equivalent of an attack on Russia's nuclear weapons themselves, and that could allow Russia to use nuclear weapons. Okay, so Russia could use this as an excuse to launch nukes at Ukraine. And Russia has already started issuing license plates for vehicles and registration codes for vehicles for the Kharkiv Oblast. Okay, so that means that Russia is intending to take over Kharkiv. So we could see a very brutal and bloody battle over Kharkiv this year. It could be a modern day Stalingrad. It's going to be like Bakhmut on steroids. And I want to remind you guys that we had 2 US B-52 nuclear bombers fly up to the Baltic Sea 2 days ago. They flew all the way to Sweden from the UK, and they were looping near the Gotland Island, not far from Estonia and Finland, for quite a while. So this was definitely a show of force to Russia. And they did this just a day after Russia pulled up all the buoys on the Narva River, okay, the border markings on the Narva River. And apparently there was heavy damage done by a Hezbollah anti-tank guided missile barrage towards civilian homes and a synagogue in northern Israel. So tensions between Hezbollah and Israel are still very high. And Dr. Fauci may soon be indicted after Senator Rand Paul revealed new evidence and contends there are now grounds to prosecute the former top federal health official based on congressional testimony from his former top aide, Dr. David Morenz, the former aide to the longtime director of the NIAID, testified before a House Select Subcommittee. Evidence shows that Fauci and Morenz destroyed evidence and evaded a Freedom of Information Act request. Wow. So that's the latest breaking news that I have. I may be back later on this evening with another update. I hope you guys are enjoying your Memorial Day weekend. I hope you're having a good time with friends and family. I hope you're out at the beach, barbecuing, having a few cold ones, laughing. Okay, enjoy life before SHTF comes, because when it comes, you may regret that you didn't enjoy life enough. So that's pretty much it. I may be back later on. Follow me on Telegram and Twitter. The links to my Telegram and Twitter are in the description below this video. And until next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. Culinary out. Attention handloaders, check out Cutting Edge Bullets for some of the best bullets in the industry. They also sell loaded ammo now, and I'm partnering with them to give you a 20% discount. And to get the discount, all you got to do is use the promo code NYPrepper to get 20% off your entire order. And Cutting Edge Bullets makes the best bullets for bear defense and for big bore rifles, big bore handguns. They also make some really, really good bullets for long range enthusiasts, very high BC bullets that are turned on a lathe. So check them out, cuttingedgebullets.com. Use the promo code NYPrepper to get 20% off. I've done a lot of testing with their big bore bear defense bullets and solids, and I can tell you that they have the best solids in the business. So I'm going to leave a link to their website and the promo code in the description below this video, but it's cuttingedgebullets.com, promo code NYPrepper to get 20% off of your entire order, and check out some of their new loaded ammo if you're not a hand loader.